in talking about predispositions and family genetics, I have very high cholesterol. It's something that I started discovering. We've talked about it when I was in college. I remember I got my cholesterol checked, and the doctor says, "Do you eat McDonald's every single day?" And I said, "No." So it's almost like you don't know until you actually get your numbers checked. How important is it for people to go in and see, especially if they know that this disease is in their family?
Yeah, I think it's critically important because you don't feel the effects of the disease when you're young. I'm out there running. I was a fairly avid runner, run maybe 6 or 8 miles on a weekend, and uh, always felt like I was in really great health and didn't understand that I had this sort of time bomb inside of me that was beginning to tick and left un, attended to could lead to issues that just were a surprise at some point. As you're young, and if you're aware of genetic problems, of family history, and it's mostly on the male side. I mean, as I understand the research, you really inherit your cardiac genetics from your father. So if you recognize that kind of an issue, then it really is important to begin to embrace it, not to be afraid of it or ignore it, but just embrace it. Because there are things you can do to improve your diet, improve your health, and eventually maybe take some medications to really extend and keep your cardiovascular system in a tip-top shape.
What I've found really impressive is that when I've been in a doctor visit with you, because I think that was very helpful to kind of hear those conversations that you were having with your cardiologist, because again, that might be a conversation I might be having. It seems like you have always been a real strong health advocate for yourself. What tips can people start doing to really take ownership of that and kind of keep updated? What have you seen that's helped you?
Well, the first thing you have to do is arrest your fear of what's going on and decide that you're going to embrace it. And if you decide that you're going to embrace it, the American Heart Association is a good example. They have all kinds of different dietary recommendations and different health recommendations and exercise recommendations and cookbooks and everything you can imagine that can help you begin to look at making sure that you keep yourself in better shape. And it's about losing weight. With my case, for example, I'm a type 2 diabetic. I also genetically inherited that from my mother's side of the family. So that even adds more difficulty if you have a cardiovascular problem. You really have to decide that I want to make sure that the quality of my life is as good as I can make it to be. And that any point in time, whether you're my age or your age, decide, I'm going to do something about that. I'm going to take better care of myself. I'm going to learn and read, talk to experts, understand and learn how to do CPR, learn all of the kinds of things that would be helpful for you to protect yourself, your family, and your friends, anybody that you come in contact with. Another great thing that the Heart Association has done is CPR training. If you think about it, you look at the statistics about how many people have been saved by just some person passing by that happens to know CPR that goes into action and saves their life in an airport. In a marathon, there's been people that have been saved through those kinds of circumstances. So it's the attitude that you bring to it. And I'm always a guy that has focused on it. And I see right up behind you there, you've got a copy of my book on visionary leadership. And the focus to me is that you have to say to yourself, I'm not in control of things that are happening to me. My genetics were not something that I went out and decided I was going to have. I inherited those. And if you feel like you have to be in control, you're always going to be wrestling with it. Decide that you're not in control of that And so if you're not in control of it, the next question is, well, if I'm not in control, then what can I do? And if you aren't focused on trying to be in control or deny something is happening, you can then begin to turn around, accept data that's coming at you, listen to people that are telling you about their cardiovascular story that's helping you learn some things. I learned things in a heart walk, walking next to somebody and just having a conversation with them about what it is that's going on in their life, and they're sharing with me ideas and thoughts about heart disease that I didn't know. So it's about, reaching out and saying, I'm not in control of this, but what I am in control in, I'm in control of my actions, and I'm in control of my attitude, and I'm in control of how I think about things all the time. And, the philosopher said, you become what you think about all the time. And if you think about being healthy, you'll become healthy. It's just part of the way the mental process works.
I think that's really important, especially a good mindset now with the pandemic, because there's a lot that's happening. Do you have
Yeah.
any advice on maybe how to find the right doctor for yourself, or, what steps you've taken, or even just hospitals in general with all your experience, especially with what's going on with the pandemic? Kind of one of those open questions of, what wisdom can you bestow on us?
Yeah, unless you really know that you have some serious circumstances, I always recommend start with your primary care doctor and have a discussion with your primary care doctor about your genetics. Ask them if you haven't had the test done. Like you said, you figured out that your cholesterol is high. Go back to that doctor and ask the doctor what their advice is. Go online and look at cardiovascular disease and progression and ask a question. I'm 30 years old and I have high cholesterol. What's the best recommendations on what I should do? And you'll begin to get information and data. Or you can say, well, I'm 72 years old. What do I do now? But start there. Begin to work through the process. And as your primary care doctor recognizes that you are having trouble managing your cholesterol or triglycerides, they may want to send you to a cardiologist. And that's the next step in the process, is to a cardiologist. But a good a trained internal medicine physician or family practitioner all have the knowledge around basic cardiology. And then they may not want to continue if you have cardiovascular disease. They most likely would send you to a cardiologist for the cardiologist to spend more time working on the specifics about your disease.
Is there anything specific that I didn't get a chance to ask you that you want to share with the community? Anything at all?
No, I think the things that to me are most important are embracing, as I said, embracing in your own mind the fact that you have a potential health risk, and deciding that you're going to manage that more effectively, and recognizing that supporting the American Heart Association is helping to support everybody with cardiovascular disease, because it's that technology that has brought us a long way from the time that my dad had his first heart attack until today. And I've seen sort of significantly mind-blowing kinds of improvements in cardiovascular health and in training and in the quality of physicians. So I think that's something to remember, but it's important that we all support it and that we all provide support, because it is the number one killer of Americans. It's the number one killer in the world.
And it seems like it's silent too. I think that's what I've learned, which is why it's important for me to constantly get my numbers checked and really focus on diet.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, and it's like I said earlier, it's silent up until the time that you're probably in your 40s and 50s, and you all of a sudden realize, ooh, I've got a bigger problem than I thought I had. And what you want to avoid is having that kind of problem, keeping your weight down, focusing on what you're eating, focusing on exercise, and managing your blood pressure and pulse rate. Those all are important things that everybody can do. Uh, but you got to decide you're going to do it. You know, nobody can do it for you. It's an individual decision, and to me, it's an important one.
Thanks, Dad, so much.
You're welcome, babe.
So exciting. Well, I know I'm going to be participating in the Heart Walk this year. It's going to be a little different because it's going to be virtual. So maybe people can interact with each other online, even if they can't walk next to each other. But I thought it'd be a great way for the family to really get involved.
Okay. Well, let me know if you need anybody to coach somebody along. I can probably do that on Skype or something.
There you go. I'll have to FaceTime you while I'm walking.
There you go.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Dad, for that. I really appreciate it.
You're welcome. Love you.
Love you too.